Good morning, Cynthia. Could you please start preparing to leave this house soon? How long do you plan to stay at your parents' house? I think it's essential to read the situation and consider moving out.
I
gave birth just over 3 months ago, and my body is still recovering. I don't have the patience to convince you to leave. Can you please leave?
Why should I be the one to leave my parents' house? My parents haven't asked me to leave either.
Don't you see what's happening here? I understand it's your parents' place. But it's time for my little brother and me to move in with our newborn baby. With you here, it's getting too crowded.
I understand, but is it your place to ask me to leave the place I've been living in?
What?
My parents and I agreed that we would all live here. We've been taking care of this house and making sure you're comfortable since you gave birth. You asked us to look after you because you couldn't stay alone in your apartment with the baby due to exhaustion. You initially said you'd stay for a month, and it's been 3 months now. So why are you asking me to leave?
I'm not plotting against you, I'm just asking you to be considerate. Even after 3 months, I'm still tired. And it's not the right time for me to return to my apartment.
Why are you still tired?
That's not the point. Your presence here is making my stay worse. You should be the one suggesting to Michael and me that you'd be fine leaving for a while so we can enjoy our stay.
It seems like you're feeling much better than you were a few days after giving birth.
What? What about my post-birth fatigue looks better to you?
Listen, you spend most of your day on the couch, watching TV and eating snacks or my mom's cooking. You continue this until midnight, watching dramas and sometimes cartoons. It seems like you're taking advantage of us.
Of course, you'd say something so harsh. I'm just relaxing for a bit after taking care of my little girl all the time.
All the time? I only see you go to Tina's crib once a day to say hi. My mom takes care of her 24/7, feeding her and comforting her when she cries. It doesn't look like you're doing much for Tina.
Don't talk to me like that. You've never experienced childbirth. Even taking care of her for a short time, once a day, is exhausting for my body. I put a lot of effort into that. And stop questioning my mom looking after Tina. She's thrilled to care for her first granddaughter. I didn't ask her to take care of Tina for this long. Please stop bothering me with your judgment of how I live my life right now.
Where do you see my mom happily taking care of Tina right now?
You are starting to really stress me out with all of these condescending questions. Even if your parents are helping to take care of Tina for me. How the hell am I supposed to recover when you're always standing over me questioning my every action? I would be able to leave a lot sooner if you'd just please get out of this house.
I understand your request. But wouldn't it be easier for you to return to your apartment early, leaving Tina here? You're still paying rent, right?
We thought about it and ended our lease. Your parents agreed we could continue staying here.
Seriously?
Therefore, I think it's time that you get out of here soon. This house is now meant for your parents and our young little family to live in.
Hey, Mom. Did you hear from Michael and Rose that they plan to stay here even longer? They told me that they even ended the contract for their old apartment. So she just told me to get out of this house. What's going on?
She just told me about that a second ago as well. And it looks like she never even wanted to talk to your dad about this. We were terribly surprised by this.
So what are we going to do now? It seems like the two of them, or I guess three of them, aren't going to be leaving this place anytime soon. Rose has already forced you to continue caring for Tina. And Michael keeps telling me that you both care more for them than you care about me. He even told me that you guys aren't making him pay to stay here either.
Well, this is all true, Cynthia. So for the time being, we'd really appreciate it if you left the house.
Huh.
Your dad and I talked about this a little and we know that Michael and them won't leave whatsoever. So it'd be easier to get you to leave. As of right now, there are just too many people living in this small house. And it's driving me up the wall. It'd really help us out a ton, Cynthia.
Stop messing around, Mom. Hold on. You'd rather live with those two, who have obviously been using you, over me, who you guys agreed could live here?
This will be really good for you, I think. You'll be able to do more remote work from your computer now. That you won't be close to your office. And I think that living on your own will be much more relaxing and enjoyable for you.
I get that all, but I never agreed to this sort of deal.
It's fine, don't get too upset over it. I'll start helping you look for a really nice place to live if you don't mind. I even have that one friend that works for a realtor company. She might be able to give you a good deal on a place. Well, actually, I've already asked for her to start looking for some small places that you might like. Just in case something like this happened.
Ugh, why?
When you get out of work today, let's start looking for moving companies that can get all of your stuff moved out for cheap. Please give me a call when you're finished, okay?
Did everything go well with moving those boxes to your new apartment? Did you manage to find a nice, cozy place?
Yeah, it's a better apartment than I initially expected. I finalized all the paperwork with the real estate agent and the landlord today. I'm thankful that my mom's friend helped me find this place.
Really?
Now that my things are here, I can relax and start arranging my furniture without having to see your faces for a while.
All I can see is you crying behind your phone screen. I'm laughing so hard right now that I can't breathe.
What?
Your mom even told me that you were sobbing in front of her, trying to get them to let you stay here. I feel bad for you, even your own parents have thrown you out and forgotten about you. But I guess it was time for them to realize that a lady in her 30s needs to be living on her own by now. This was the perfect time for them to help you with that, huh?
What do you mean by the perfect time?
If it weren't for Michael, Tina, and me moving in, your parents would have been cornered by you trying to live in their house forever. You were like a parasite to them.
I was the parasite.
Kids that stick around with their parents way too long after they graduate college are said to be the worst kind of parasites. To me, the word parasite fits your character perfectly.
Have you not stopped to think that maybe the two of you staying way past a month at my parents' place puts you in the perfect spot to be called a parasite? The only reason I decided to stay with them is because their house is really close to the office I work at. That area's housing is expensive, so it was a much safer choice than trying to get a loan to pay for a house of my own. And before you continue calling me names, I've been paying them every month for my portion of the bills. Michael told me that you guys haven't even paid them anything yet for your stay. So I do believe you are the parasites.
We don't have to worry about paying. We were the ones that gave your parents their first grandchild. You're hopeless to them now that you're in your 30s and still single. That's why they are making you pay. And, if you haven't heard, our daughter is going to inherit this house next, so I think it's only fair that Michael and I get to live here. If Tina will be the house's next owner.
What? What are you talking about? No one's going to get that house after them. My family doesn't have that sort of history there anyway.
It doesn't matter if your family has never done it before. Normally, the son of the family will be the next in line to get the house. After the parents pass away. And, we would like to give the house to Tina when that time comes.
Huh.
Of course, it must be pretty awful to hear about something like this. After you were just kicked out of said house. You were never going to bring up a family here anyway. I think your parents might have let you stay. If you had given them grandchildren by this point. You probably never noticed how much they were hoping that you'd bring home a man someday. I'm just happy they kicked you out before you became too much of a problem for us to handle peacefully.
All right, I'm sorry that I wasn't able to leave the house sooner.
You don't have to apologize now. Nobody here is going to listen to you anyway. I hope you realize that this was going to happen to you. No matter how hard you tried to latch onto your parents.
You don't have to keep making fun of me. I've already left the house, like you asked.
Don't ever bother trying to come back, okay?
You don't have to tell me that. I've already rented this apartment. And the rest of my things should arrive within a day or two. Today, I'll just stay the night with the furniture I have here. And starting tomorrow, I'll begin my new life.
I'm so thrilled to hear all of this from you. Finally, there's no one to criticize what I'm doing. Your mom will take care of Tina for me and Michael. And I won't have to worry about rent or utilities. My life is about to be amazing. This is a huge victory for me.
Well, you'll only enjoy that amazing life for another 2 weeks. Before my parents finish selling the house. I suggest you and Michael find a new place to live.
What? They're selling the house and moving?
Yes. So this great life you keep talking about will only last for about another 2 weeks. Start worrying about what'll happen to Tina. If you can't find a place quickly, begin by looking for a moving company. That way, you can get your items packed up and ready to go before my parents do the same. Otherwise, you'll really be in their way.
Hold on. I'm starting to panic a little here, but what on earth are you talking about? Why are they planning to sell the house now? It's unfair to do this to us right after having Tina.
I think you need to read the situation a bit. You said you'd only stay a month. But then you stopped renting your own apartment and stayed without asking any of us. I don't think my parents really care if it's fair to you too. They're probably more excited to leave that house now. That they know they can get away from you guys.
But why?
When my mom told me to leave that house, I thought she was taking your side. But when I spoke with my mom's friend, the realtor, she mentioned they'd be selling the house soon and moving. She said they weren't on your side in this fight. Instead, she said they wanted to get rid of you 2 months ago.
She said that about us.
It looks like after a month, my mom was already tired of taking care of Tina for you. She even said that you refused to give her a specific time when she asked when you'd leave. That's when she told me that you have trouble reading the situation sometimes. Mom even mentioned that you did nothing to repay her for your stay. She wished she had just come to your place to care for Tina. Today, she told me that she had been thinking about selling the house for a while. But after you guys moved in, she made the decision to sell it. That's why she wanted me out of the house as soon as possible. So all my things would be out before they began moving their things.
She wouldn't say all of that. Doesn't she know that we have no place to move back to? What are we going to do?
Well, it looks like you'll have to start looking for a new house. That seems like the only option you have now. And you should have plenty of time to do that after taking a 3-month-long break. Anyways, good luck getting out of there in 2 weeks.
2 weeks is too short. It's almost impossible for us. We have to look after Tina. How will we find time to search for a new place and prepare?
Don't act like you haven't been sitting around for the past few months watching TV. You've had plenty of time during the day to find a new place. I suggest you start searching now instead of crying because time is ticking. Alrighty. Good luck.
How's the new apartment treating you? Enjoying it?
It's going well. The place gets lots of sunlight in the afternoon, so it's warm in the evenings. Yesterday, the landlord came over to help with some maintenance issues I had. He's pretty lenient about decoration and layout, so I designed it just the way I wanted.
That's great to hear.
By the way, how's everything going there? Have Michael and Rose settled down enough to start prepping the house for sale? Did they find a new place?
These last few days have been tough. Every time we talk to them, they get upset and start crying. Rose says she won't forgive me and won't let me see Tina again. I don't think she knows how much of a relief that is for your dad and I. I want her to realize that your dad and I aren't too fond of kids in the first place.
True, you've never been great with kids.
That's right. I already had my share of raising a child after having you. I am well over that sort of thing now.
So, can you get them to leave before you and Dad move?
Well, about that. They're threatening to make our lives miserable if they have to leave. We can't even get into their room, it's filled with their stuff.
Really?
Well, Michael still finds a way to get out of there to go to work every day, but the moment he gets home, he goes straight to that room and blocks the door again. It looks like they are going to try and squat in this house after we are gone.
They have a baby to take care of. What are they thinking?
I know, right? They only communicate with us through text, they won't talk or call. It's like dealing with kids. When Tina cries, Rose texts me to take her back to our room.
That's terrible.
I just respond with a no and turn off my phone.
I do the same, they're acting like kids. Can you sell the house if they stay? New owners won't be able to renovate with them inside.
We'll still be able to sell the place. Don't worry. The buyers have already talked to us about that. They said if on the morning of the day they move in, Michael and Rose are still there, they will call the police. All they have to say is that there is a couple of squatters living in the house.
They're involving the police?
It's a shame the police have to deal with this, but it's their job.
I shouldn't have doubted calling them.
Of course, those two still have plenty of time to change their mind, but if the police have to be called, they will both have to answer for their troubles.
Right. Good luck this last week. If you need help at your new place, I'm there. I'm sending a bit more money for you.
Wow, You're even covering our last rent.
I feel bad you have to deal with them after I left. If I were there, I could have helped get rid of them faster.
You don't have to worry about us like that. Your dad and I will be just fine after this is all over. Just being able to text you whenever is enough for the two of us. We'll make sure to use this money on something that all three of us can enjoy.
Please help us, Cynthia. Your mom. She is actually moving out of the house right now with your dad. They even called the cops on us to get us out of here. We are going to get tossed right out of our own house.
I can't believe it. You guys actually had the nerve to stay there all the way until the move-out date.
Well, of course we did. We had thought that we would be able to live in this house for the rest of our lives with Tina. Michael and I thought that your parents were just using the idea of moving out as some sort of excuse to try and get us out of the house. I never thought that they would actually go through with all of it.
So in other words, you both have still not found a new place to live at?
Of course not. Your parents are the worst. Absolute worst. They went behind our backs to find a place to move to, without even telling us the address. Why won't they tell us where they'll live next?
Oh my gosh, could you please stop crying like a child right now? It's really annoying. You have a baby of your own now, so you need to toughen up and find a place to live at, now. That's all you guys can do now.
But that's going to be impossible. We already left our old apartment and we ended up selling all of our furniture and electronics as well. We don't even have the money right now to pay for rent or a new house.
What? You guys don't have anything.
Why would we? Michael ended up using a lot of his paid time off and his salary dropped because of it. And I quit my job after I had become pregnant with Tina.
Then I'd say you should get Tina into a daycare, so that you can start working a full-time job. Now you'll need to find a place to live, a daycare for Tina, and a job so that you can start paying the bills. That's a lot if you ask me.
I don't want to do all of that tedious work. I just wanted to become a stay-at-home mom. I have Tina to take care of now, so I will never be able to work a job.
Really?
I can't deal with this anymore. I can't rely on your mom anymore either, so I'm going to rely on you. Michael, Tina, and I will all have to move into your place now. That should be fine, right?
What?
Of course that's okay, right? I mean, you live in that apartment all on your own, so it is very lonely for you, right? You had been living at your parents' all of these years. And now living on your own must be so terrifying, right?
Well, I'm sorry to say, but I am actually really enjoying myself right now, having all this time and space to myself.
No way. You're just saying that to try and cope with the feeling of being all alone. We all know that deep down in your heart it is all dark and scary, and you are just looking for someone to be there with you. You don't even have a partner that can come over every so often to try and relieve that pain. At this point, I bet you are contemplating ending yourself, so that you don't have to suffer through your loneliness anymore. But now you don't have to worry, Cynthia. From now on, the three of us will be staying with you. You won't have a kid of your own, but you can think of Tina as one of yours. You can make all of your dreams come true of having your very own child to take care of and have fun with, right?
No, 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 no. I am not letting you guys come over here. I could never manage having you guys live with me. And you saying for me to raise Tina as my own will only turn into me actually having to raise her on my own.
I thought it would be a valuable experience for you to raise a child since it's unlikely you'll have one. This should be something to appreciate, right?
What the heck?
Instead of gratitude, you're going to tell us we can't stay with you. So, you want to kick out your little brother, his wife, and their child? If you do that, you won't get to see your cute niece ever again.
I'd rather not see her again. And I really don't care to see any of you ever again.
What?
I'm not trying to evict my brother like you attempted with me. I'm just cutting ties with all of you. I don't plan on letting some freeloaders stay in my apartment.
What do you mean by that? Are you calling Michael and me parasites?
Isn't that obvious? You're living off others to avoid work or expenses. That's the definition of a parasite, right? And I don't want to live with people like that.
Why are you saying such hurtful things to me?
But wasn't that what you said about me a few weeks ago? Don't play the victim now just because you're being criticized. It's not fair. If you want to stop being a hypocrite, maybe you should look for a job. That would be the responsible thing to do. Then you can rely on government support instead of me, you little parasite.
You little jerk. How dare you speak to me that way? You should want us to live with you. You should be begging for us to stay in your apartment. You don't even have a baby or a boyfriend. You're worthless to society at this point. If you want to find some purpose in your life, at least help us financially so we can find our own place.
Seriously?
You should be able to do that at least. If you don't, Tina will be homeless. Do you want to live with the guilt of causing that?
But none of this is my fault. Also, you're making yourself look foolish in front of me. Suggesting that I should bring a dysfunctional family into my home. Just because I'm single and childless. Even if I gave you money, it wouldn't solve your problems. It would be a waste for me to do that.
What?
That's why I won't be giving either of you a penny. But unlike me, you have a supportive husband you can lean on, right? I believe if you both work together, you can find a solution. Or, as I should say, try not to let your daughter down by living on the streets. A few days after their eviction, Rose and Michael miraculously secured an incredibly affordable apartment, which they moved into without hesitation. Nevertheless, after relying on my mom to look after Tina for the past 3 months, Rose now faces the daunting task of seeking employment while learning the ropes of parenthood. She's even been pressuring Michael to take on a second job in hopes of amassing enough money for a larger house. It appears that she's still struggling to soothe Tina when she cries. And she believes that a bigger house will provide a better refuge. Consequently, Michael, after completing his regular job, starts his night shift at the local gas station, aiming to increase their income. On a separate note, my parents, who sold their old house to start anew, stumbled upon a charming cabin on the Maine coast, granting them picturesque Atlantic Ocean views every morning.